Hello and welcome to RealTalk, your guide to real estate success. And here are your hosts, Brian Woodward and Lauren Burpo.
Hey everybody, welcome to this month's episode of RealTalk. Lauren here with Remax Energy.
I'm Brian Woodward. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Hope everybody had great holidays. It's been cold here in Oklahoma. A lot of snow.
Yeah, we're fixing to get really cold again. So
Yes, yeah. So we've been finishing up the year, looking into 2025, putting our goals together. Brian's actually been doing one-on-ones with our agents here. Every single year he sits down, goes over their goals, their plans, and we see what we can do to support and help them grow. Part of that was going over our numbers, and we found out some pretty cool stuff. So tell me, where did our business come from last year?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So really it's just not only our numbers, but to see really to see where each agent where all their business came from, and then to talk about what they needed to work on. And there was really like a trend, where everybody kind of needed to be really working on the same thing. But yeah, so really it almost split down the middle. So of course, we do Zillow leads, and we do some Google stuff. We do a lot of different type of lead sources. So, and then we're really big at taking care of our sphere of influence, which it's about 50-50. So 50% of our business came from our sphere of influence, and 50% came from our leads. So I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty happy if we can get about half of our business from. It'd be awesome if about 60% of our business was from our sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And I know we've had it there before. At one point, we had it up as that high, but I think a little bit of it's the market, and then I think a little bit of it too is some of our our team members need to do a little better job of staying in flow with their people, with their sphere of influence.
Yeah. So mention that with sphere of influence. I know we do quite a bit, but what do you think that the agents do that keep them in contact with them?
Well, I think one thing when you talk about a sphere of influence, I think you have to look at what is your sphere of influence. So, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, if they know somebody, they put them on their sphere of influence, and I don't think that's really just because you met somebody at an open house, you don't stick them on your sphere of influence. We use the Brian Buffini mayor campaign. So, it's somebody, if you put them on your sphere of influence, it should be somebody who you had a conversation with, and you said, if you or somebody you knew was looking to buy or sell a home, do you have a realtor you refer them to? Well, if you're their real estate agent and they say you would be who we refer them to, that's somebody you add on your sphere. If they're like, oh no, my sister sells real estate, or my aunt, or whatever, they don't go on your sphere.
They're not going to work with you.
And if you haven't asked that question, or you're afraid to ask them that question, they don't go in your sphere.
Yeah.
So, if you, and our goal is to build, to have and we've got some people that's got more than 100 people on their sphere.
Yeah.
We've got some people with 50, some people with 70. We got them all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is to get everybody to 100 people. And truly, if you look at the numbers, because we pretty much keep track of them every year, if you had 100 people in your sphere and you contacted them, like we're going to show you here in a minute how to do it, if you did it consistently, you should generate 25 sales a year.
Yeah.
Like year after year after year after year.
Just based off of who they know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I know me personally, I have about 168 people on my sphere, and I can I give away a lot of it. Obviously I don't give it away, but, a lot of the team members, I support them with different leads I get and business I get, and they help me with listings and stuff like that. But, I can pretty easily generate 60, from 160 people, I can generate somewhere around 60 sales a year.
Yeah. Just from the stuff we have in place,
just
too.
From from the stuff we already have, which is real easy to put in place.
Oh, yeah.
It's not very hard at all. So it really blows me away that people, I almost laugh at it sometimes, like we go and list so many properties that somebody just sold in the house 3 years ago. And it's like, of course we don't say, why didn't you call your realtor that just sold you the house back? But it's like, where's the realtor that just sold them the house? Like, why didn't they stay? But if you go back and you look at the numbers, like 80% of realtors are out of the business within 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good chances are whoever sold them that house,
they might not be in the business
they're not even
anymore.
in real estate.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so it doesn't even end up being that big of an issue. So, but
Yeah.
so one thing I really got our members to focus on this year when it came to their sphere of influence was obviously cleaning up their database, their sphere. Listen, if they didn't do a mayor campaign with them and they weren't really their sphere, don't put them on there.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, and then to work every week at adding, every week you should be trying to add somebody. If you could add 2 people every week, at the end of the year, you have 100 people. Mm-hmm. And like you said earlier, take one person a week to lunch.
Yeah.
If you just took one person a week, even if it was somebody on your sphere, and because it's all about relationships with people.
That's his whole business.
That's all
this business is.
Call. I've got on here, just call and text and reach out to people, see how they're doing, check on them, I text a ton of people between Christmas and New Year's. Mm-hmm. I'd send everybody a Christmas card.
Mm-hmm.
Just check in with them. We got some agents that do a lot of birthday cards. We got some that we just got people that do all kinds of different things. It's basically just staying in touch with the people whether it's a past client or even just somebody you grew up with who sends you business, and
on a personal note, staying in touch, but also showing value. I think that's a big thing too, and
right.
we really harp on that. Is not just
and we've got some newer agents too that I've really been on them about. You can do that through for one thing, anytime they get a listing, they should be emailing it to their sphere and let them know, hey, I got a new listing. And then also a couple times a week posting on social media, which we'll talk about social media a little more in a minute, but going in there and letting your people, because usually who's on your sphere is on your social media, so showing people you're doing business and you're busy and you're actually a real estate agent that does business.
Yeah, because if you're not selling, you're not in business.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy who... so I've had a couple people really the last 6 months of the year really been harping on them about you need to be posting a couple times a week. You need to be posting a couple, and they've been doing it, and you can really see it's really impacting. They're getting a lot of traction with it, and they're not doing anything super fancy. Like they're literally standing in front of a house and saying, "We just listed this house. We just sold this house. We just," like it's nothing.
No,
they're not spending 2 hours editing videos and stuff.
We're not reinventing the wheel here.
No, they're just super simple videos and letting their sphere know they're selling real estate and they're busy. And people are interested in knowing the market and what's selling and what things are selling for. People are always
everybody wants to
interested
talk
in
about real estate.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then obviously we have our events at the office, and one thing I talked to them about was being more involved in inviting people to the events. Which means inviting them means picking up the phone and calling them and inviting them.
And thanking them.
Yeah, thanking them for coming to the event. So the way we do our events, if your sphere of influence should be touched 5 to 6 times for every event we do that you're inviting them. Mm-hmm. We do about 3 to 4 events a year. Mm-hmm. So somewhere in there you're touched them 18 times. Then we touch them 2 other times throughout the year. So that's, 24 plus 18. I don't know how much, that's 48 times a year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We're touching people. So, but we actually, and if you're interested, Lauren has a breakdown of what we do for how we stay in flow with our sphere. But, that's one thing I think some of our team members didn't, and listen, everybody on our team did good. Like we had one of our best years ever, but we're talking about how to keep doing better and better and better. For example, we had one team member, he sold 29 properties. In fact, I told him, he just seemed like this year was one of those years, he never seemed like he was, stressed out. He never seemed really, it's like every day looked like he was on vacation. It was like he was so laid back.
Cool, collected.
Yeah.
Not normally like that.
Yeah, he's so chill all
year.
year. And I was like, when I got to looking, I met with him and we're looking at his numbers. I was like, man, you sold 29 houses. You're pretty laid back. And we get to looking, he listed 21. So that made life a little easier. Obviously it's easier to have listings that work with buyers. And then 4 of the 21, he had his buyers for his own listings. So literally he only ended up selling 4 or 5.
4 to buyers,
had
really.
4 or 5 buyers he worked with all year.
Yeah.
That didn't buy his
so
own
much
listing.
time.
Yeah, so that's why he was like, man, I got to figure out how to repeat this.
Redo this, yeah.
So, which it's what he's doing. He's been here a little while. He's getting his spheres working for him. He's getting referrals. He's not out, having to beat the streets like he used to. So
Making 100 calls a day.
Right. So really you should be, you have your sphere. To break it down real simple, you do the mayor campaign, you have your sphere, try to get it to 100 people. I've got note cards on here too. Like, we don't do a good job of just simply sending people a note card and telling them thank you and that you're thinking of them. And this is just common sense stuff to just being a good person, like
just relationships.
So show your success to them, and then just plug into what we do as a team, which we do a lot of that for them. They don't even have to do it, so they just have to have the sphere, and then take somebody to lunch every week. So that pretty much was the sphere. One other thing I saw that really stood out was that a lot of people really seemed like they wanted to get focused on was more social media stuff.
2025 is the year of content.
And I know you yourself, you said you want to do more, you want to grow your social media, which you already have, like in the past few months with a few little things.
And it really is, it's almost like funny how simple it is, because I don't know, I'm a ChatGPT gal. If you all need help with prompts, please reach out to me. I love working with it, and it has made my social media game so easy. I was able to complete my entire year of marketing for social media December of last year. I mean, you cannot get better than that. So if you want help or tips on that, please reach out to me. More than happy to share it. But
even your video editing and stuff like
that's improved.
So on the social media on the team, what we really focus on. So we have our own media department here. So obviously we get our house photos done, and they can do a walkthrough video. We do that for them. But some of the other things, we talked about, like, post 2 videos a week of listings. If you don't have listings, post somebody on the team's listings. Just go by the house, take a video of it.
The neighborhood updates going on in the neighborhood.
Neighborhood updates, sales in the neighborhood, or even market updates.
Market stats are
anything
brilliant.
like that. The post shows going on in the market. I know this sounds like simple stuff, but people aren't doing it.
No, they're not.
And they're not doing it consistently. Like, I'll see people do it for, it seems like they'll do it consistent for 2 or 3 weeks and then they quit.
Completely.
But you've got to keep doing it. So, I guess TikTok could be going away or whatever. So I was talking to a lady today who knows a couple of people who make a living on TikTok. They literally get paid from their TikTok, content.
To make the content.
And we were talking about, she's like, that's a full, they work 8 to 5 at that, like literally coming up with the content and all that. Like, it's work.
Yeah.
And when you really get into doing social media like you need to do it, you got to block out a few hours,
it can
maybe
be
every day or half a day a week or whatever, to really get it knocked out and to do it, and
have something that actually looks good, makes sense.
And be consistent.
Where
you do
just
it every
have
week.
It set up. Yes, exactly.
Well, just like you do, you already have yours planned out for what you're going to do in July.
Oh yeah, for the whole year. Like December of this year, I already know what I'm posting. That's
what. I think that's what most of them, most of the team members I talked to, that's what, that was kind of what most of them were focused on, was getting more of a plan together for their social media, not being like
something here, a couple weeks, something there.
Just a fly-by-night. Oh, I'm going to get up today and go do something.
I'm going to go make a video, right, instead of planning it.
Have more of a plan. That's really what we tried to focus on with everybody. It was like, what was your plan? Get it put in writing.
Yes.
Know what you're going to do, know what you're focused on.
Put it somewhere you can see. Vision boards, we talked about vision boards in our last episode. So making sure everybody had those. Sharing them with one another was a big thing that we did in the office too. And I think that helped just with
and even if you do a vision board and you don't have anybody to do them with your spouse or your friends or whatever, like, it's pretty neat when people share them with the whole office, because it really gets everybody, like, I don't know, just things come up that you don't know about people or interests they have that really, like, especially if you have a team or you run a team or, you want to run a team or whatever, like, it makes a bond with people that's just crazy. Like, it really connects them together, because they're like, just when you know stuff about people, like, that you would just never think of. You're like, you want to go do that? Like, I would have never thought you want to go do that.
You care about that?
Yeah. It's really crazy stuff. So
it's good to see.
Yeah, so that, and then really, like, I really focused on, basically, like, my big deal this year is, like, I want, I've been harping on it what are we, 15 days into the year?
Yeah.
One thing, too, I was thinking about, and we talked about it, I'm going to get on a rant here for just a second, but
That's all right.
So I've been listening to the book, Think and Grow Rich, and I had you
Yeah.
listen to, I'm actually listening to the book. I've read it a long time ago. I mean, it's probably been 15 years ago or longer I read it. But it was to the part where chapter 16, and they're talking about I think he says the devil or something, like it's I can't remember the evil. So it talks about, so it basically talks about like, there's nothing you can do. Like you can be asleep, you can be awake, the police can't do anything about it. Like, and if somebody has the book, they can go look up chapter 16. It's all in there, but it just talks about how there's nothing you can do. Negativity is going to creep into your life. And like, it could be a family member saying something positive, but you take it negative. Like, there's so many negative things in our life that, you have to stay focused on your goal and your vision. And just like with the vision boards and stuff, like you can't, I mean, it could even be a customer who, it could be a customer you call, a lead you call, or somebody's negative to you. You can't let that affect your ultimate goal, which is, whatever your goal is. Like, don't let one little negative thing throw you so off track. It messes your whole week up.
Ruin your success.
Here we are, we're already January 15th. Like, we're already 2 weeks into the year.
We're halfway through the first month.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty soon it's going to be February, and people are going to be like, crap, I didn't get anything done in January.
And that's
and then I think you were talking about it like last week or whatever, like today's quitter's day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people who have a goal.
Yeah.
Like they already quit, like, you called it quitter's day.
I did. It's quitter's day.
Yeah, it's like today's quitter's day. Like
the second Friday of January.
Yeah, people already give up on their goals.
They already give up.
So, which I know our goal is to hold people, we try to hold team members accountable, but we really work hard at that negativity part, just not to let. It is really hard. Like, it's really hard in today's world to not let.
You're surrounded by it.
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity, and you have to stay so focused. But that book and that one chapter, I haven't even got through listening to the whole chapter. I just heard that part, and I said, Lauren, you got to listen to this.
And he played it for me, and I was like, that's
nuts. But and then we were talking about, that kind of took us back to where we were at Tom Ferry earlier in the year at the Success Summit, and they were talking about, I always forget the word.
Perseverance.
Perseverance, which is basically the negative thoughts you put into your mind, why you can't, like it would be like, I'm not going to call this person because they're going to say this. Right. Like you already talk yourself out of it.
Before you come up with an excuse.
Just like we're fixing to have a top producer panel here in February. We have one every year. We do a top producer panel. We invite agents from out of state to come to Oklahoma City Realtors to talk. And, I had thought of a realtor for Lauren. And I actually said to Lauren, I was like, well, they're so-and-so, but you don't want to call them. They won't come. Well, that's the same thing.
Yeah. And I said, I'll call him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
how do you know? What's the worst that happens?
So, I mean, I'm just as bad at it. You know what I mean? I'm just as bad at it, but you really got to work at that. But one thing, with all that put aside, one thing like this year we're really focused on is customer service. Like I want this 2025 to be, and this is what was like our theme with the agents, was customer service. And that all starts with asking the right questions, because you can't help anybody. You can't serve anybody if you don't know what their needs are, and you don't know what their needs are until you ask the right questions. And we talk about this all the time. Like it's like a constant thing around here, and it definitely has been here the past few weeks. It's like we can look at our top, I can look at our top producers on the sheet on our list, and I guarantee you the top producers ask all the right questions. The people down here on the bottom don't ask the right questions, and they struggle. Like we have a new agent right now. I mean, you just talked about this because we feel bad, because we feel like, wow, where did we miss?
Well, shoot, yeah.
Like we feel like, well, when somebody doesn't do well, we feel like we let them down.
It's our fault, yeah.
But, like they literally had showed a house, and we're questioning them. We're like, well, what'd they think of the house? I don't know. Well, how much were they qualified for? Well, I don't know. Were they pre-approved, or could they get a loan? I don't know. I mean, it's like, did they want to live in that town? I don't know. Well, it's like, well, why did you ask them?
Yeah.
Like, literally, he hadn't asked them enough questions to know anything. So how do you build any rapport with somebody if you don't ask them any questions? How do you know even what they want if you don't ask them any questions? How can you help them if you don't ask any questions? So, and we actually have a sheet.
And I'll share this with everybody. Everyone's more than welcome to grab this.
We have a buyer side and a seller side, which not much on the. If you work at our brokerage, there's not much on the seller side because we do a 2-step approach. So we want you to just get an appointment, go out there and look at the house and take notes, and then you're going to go back and then do most of your question asking then. But anyway, on the buyer questionnaire, or even just, having a conversation with somebody, like I think it's like the lost art of talking to. Sometimes it's like, has the art of talking to people left?
Yeah.
As social media and texting and all this, like, have people lost the ability to talk to people? Because it feels like it sometimes, especially when we listen, because some of our calls are recorded and we can listen to them with our Google calls and different things. So it's like, sometimes we're just like, man, if y'all forgot how to talk to people, like, and I always go back to say, if that was your best friend, would you have not asked them
why they want to move there?
Yeah, why are you moving there? Why did you like that house? Why did you like that piece of land? Why did you like that? Like,
do you have kids coming with you?
Yeah,
like anything.
I mean, it just blows our mind that, but on the other hand, we can listen to calls where, like, literally they sit there. And so one of our top producers, Leah, I was talking to her the other day, and she said she was talking to a client, and she said she, asked a lot of questions, had a great conversation or whatever, and she got off the phone, and it was a client who was moving from out of state, and then she got off the phone, and she felt like, man, I just really feel like I still don't understand what the customer wanted or whatever.
Yeah.
So she said, I just picked up the phone and called her back and said, just tell me your story. Like, just tell me your story. Tell me what's going on. And she said she talked to the lady for probably about 45 minutes for an hour. And literally when they were done, she knew exactly where she wanted to, she knew what her goals were. She knew where she wanted her kids to go to school. She knew what her husband's, goals were for his career and job. And,
she knew how to help him.
Yeah, she knew how to put it all together and at least have a plan to go, okay, here's where I need to go show them properties. And before that, she wouldn't have asked a lot of questions, but she still didn't know what to do. So, I mean, and then we actually sat in the meeting the other day and we had everybody ask, like, your top 5 questions.
The first one was my personal favorite, which is, what is your current situation?
Right.
Because that'll go anywhere.
Yeah, when you're talking, that could be a seller, that could be a buyer, that could be somebody at your open house, that could be almost anybody you're talking to. So what's your current situation? Well, gosh, I don't know. We're renting a house right now, but we really want to buy. But God, we haven't talked to a lender. Like, it seems really hard to buy a house. Like, I mean, it goes all over the place when you do that. But yeah, what a great, and then it's going to answer a lot of your questions.
The other questions. So, you hope.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times with the buyer brokerage agreement now, which, lots of times when people call, I know this was one of the questions. So, and maybe we're not doing these in order, but we'll send you this sheet.
That's all right. Yeah.
But it's like too, like if somebody's like, calling to see a certain property, it's like, so was there any other properties you want to look at? Or did you see any other properties you call, as you were looking at this property, were there any other properties you might want to go look at?
Yeah.
That's because with the buyer brokerage agreement, possibly they've called somebody else and already signed a buyer brokerage agreement. And these people are calling 5, 6 different realtors to go look at 5 or 6 different properties and sign up 5 or 6. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah. And they don't know either.
They don't have a clue.
The public doesn't know. That's why we're here.
They don't have a clue.
We got to save them. Don't let people call 6 different agents and give their life story. Exactly. Just take care of them. Just see if there's any other properties they have questions about or want to go look at and say, okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and I'll just schedule all of these and we'll take care of them today. We'll just do them together. Don't worry about calling back Betty Lou and Sue. So
right. Well, and then I know we have one agent who's really good at just saying, hey, listen, if we go look at that property, and it's something you really like, are you in the position to buy it? So are you going to be paying? And then, that kind of goes into one of our other questions. We don't ever, like, we really work hard at never saying, are you pre-approved?
Yes.
Because I've heard calls where people are like, what's that mean? What's pre-approved mean? So we just flat out say, are you going to be paying cash or getting a loan? Mm-hmm. So if you're, are you paying cash or if we find a house you like today, are you going to be paying cash or getting a loan? So, well, we're going to have to get a loan probably. So, well, have you talked to a lender?
Have you spoken to a lender?
So,
do you have one in mind that you trust?
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll send over
it
something.
kind of just rolls down the, rolls with it. So, then I do like to go a little bit further too with stuff and just say, so how soon are you guys looking to move?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been looking at homes?
Have you viewed any homes in person?
Have you already looked at some homes?
That's a good one.
Because somebody the other day was like, I always like to ask if you're working with the realtor. And I'm like, I don't like to ask that because, I just like to ask, have you looked at any other homes? Because just because they looked at some of their homes doesn't mean they're working with the realtor.
Right.
Maybe they signed a buyer brokerage agreement, but maybe they signed for one day, for one
or
day.
Or one property.
But has that realtor really sat down and went through the buying process and showed them what all they're going to do to help them buy a home? You know what I mean?
The process, the steps that it takes. Did they give service and value to that person? Because if they didn't, try to be that person. Try
exactly.
to jump in there and offer service and value.
Right. But also a lot of this, this not only helps answer the questions, helps you help the buyer or the seller by finding out what their needs are and giving great service. It helps build rapport.
Yeah.
Because you're actually having a conversation with them. But we also have on here, and we'll send anybody this who wants to talk about it, ability, desire, time, want. So we have that on the bottom down here, which means do they have the ability to buy? Do they have the desire? What's their time frame? And do they want you to help them? Yeah. So one of the other questions we do have on here is would you like some help?
Would you like some help with that?
Yeah. You want us to help you buy a house. So do you want
Sounds like you could use some help.
You want some help selling your house. So
I'll absolutely do that for you.
But also, and then when that's what we've been trying to really work hard at this, because it seems like we do have some people that struggle at asking the right questions to build some rapport. So then I'd actually just wrote on our board over here, there's the old Ford thing, the family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So, as you're going through this, you can kind of uncover all that or even dig in a little deeper on some of that. So
definitely,
and build some rapport with people, because that's what it's all about, is building relationships. And then, you should sell them a house. They should end up on your sphere of influence. They should become a friend.
For life.
Yeah.
Really.
And then hopefully there's somebody who sends you referrals, and then your business grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. That's how it should work.
That's how, And then that momentum just keeps going. There's nothing like seeing that momentum get going.
For sure. But anyway, but I kind of that's kind of been my motto lately, is I got it right up there. To give great service, you have to ask great questions. That's all it comes down to. You can't give great customer service unless you ask great questions.
Yeah, you can't help them if you don't know
what they want,
how you're trying to help them.
Yeah,
right. Or what they're.
Everybody might be on the lookout. I know you'll be putting out a lot of stuff about our top producer panel.
Yes, yeah.
That's always fun and exciting, and it's nice to have people come from other states and share what they do. And we usually have some pretty good questions for them. We usually have a pretty good turnout. So. People will want to register for it as soon as they see it. But it's usually pretty good, because they have. It's pretty. What's always blows me away about the top producer panel is because we've had people from Stillwater, we've had people from Lawton, we've had people from Tulsa, all over the state.
Different states.
Yeah, we've had people from Duncan. It's just funny how people do their business so different in other places, but they all do a lot of business.
Yeah.
You might be I don't like how I'm doing my business. Well, you might find out there's a better way to do it, that fits you better. Yeah,
that you never thought of.
Yeah,
it's really great. I'll post all that, and then if you want any of these things, just reach out to me. I'll probably share a link too if you're watching on our YouTube. If you're listening through the podcast, go check out our YouTube. Follow us, subscribe, leave comments. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. Check out that event stuff. And thank you, Brian, for sharing everything in the office.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And we're all about helping realtors however we can do that. We just want to see everybody succeed and have, make this the best career. We know what a great career it is. I know what a great career it is.
It's changed my life.
Yeah, I don't know
the
what
whole
I would be
industry's
doing
changed
if I wasn't
life.
in this career. So, we just want to help people have a better real estate career. So anything we can do to help that, we're here to help them. So all they got to do is reach out.
Let us know.
So, anyway.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Yep. Have a great year.
Bye.
You just listened to an episode of Real Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us on your preferred streaming platform and follow us on socials for more content. We hope you have a good day, and we'll see you next time.